The Tales of Ashenrae, Episode 1, Royal Pardon. Our story begins in the shimmering ocean of Malshay. Here lies Midway Island, where our two adventurers, our two heroes, reside. Since the age of just 3 years old, Cal and Tanner Garrick have been living on this rock, and for the past 21 years have never left its shores. Their reason? They can't. For Midway Island is home to the largest prison in the world, in which our two heroes are incarcerated. We find the twins relaxing in their shared cell. Tanner is sitting at the end of his bed reading a book. Cal is laying on his bed, staring up at the ceiling, drifting in and out of focus. They both jump up to attention when two figures stand outside their cell looking in. "Boys, good morning to you both. I have a letter here for you. From your uncle again." "Oh, another. What's this one about now?" "See for yourself. I think you'll be quite pleased." Cal reaches out and takes the letter and passes it to Tanner to read. Tanner's face suddenly drops, and a slow smile begins to creep across his face. At the same time, the warden looks over to the guard and smiles to him. Is this for real? Is this a joke?" "Not at all, Tanner. This is very real." "Cal, take a look, for goodness sakes." Tanner hands over the letter to Cal, who seems uninterested, or just half asleep. Most likely the latter. Cal takes a moment to read through the letter, and the exact same reaction occurs. What? So, is this true then? We're free? Is that right? Yes, you're both free to return to your home. Your uncle has finally gotten your case looked at, and your sentence has been officially revoked. There will be a ship arranged for you to take you to the mainland after lunchtime. Get yourselves washed and packed. I'll see you before you leave." The warden chuckles to himself joyfully as he walks away. The guard opens up their cell and escorts them to the washrooms. About an hour passes, and the twins await the warden by the front gates of the prison. "Are you all packed and ready?" "Absolutely." "Shimmerwood awaits us. Cal, we're finally going home, this is it." Between the two of them, they have a handful of possessions. Tanner carries 2 books, both to do with the Holy Order of Ashenrae, and a small collection of drawings done by his niece. Cal is carrying a small bag containing various carvings he's done over his time here. Only his favourites would be leaving the island with him. "Well then, there's no need to wait around. You've done plenty of that already. Open these gates." A guard nods at the warden, then looks up at a guard in the gatehouse and nods to him too. The prison gates slowly push forward, revealing a long declining path that leads to the dock. In the dock is a small ship, with men coming and going from it, loading it with crates and other various luggage. "The captain of this ship is Hamilton Meltley. He'll be looking after you for the duration of your journey. All your things are on board, and I believe you have some transport awaiting you on the mainland, so all that's left now is to say goodbye, I suppose. Unfortunate as it was for the two of you to be here, it was a pleasure to know you both. I wish you good fortune ahead. You take care now, boys." "Thank you, sir." The warden shakes the boys' hands each and takes a deep breath before walking back up towards the prison. As the boys look back, the warden gives them one final wave. They make their way down towards the ship, where they are greeted on the ramp by a young, pale man. "Right, lads, you must be the princes. I'm Oxen. I'm the first mate. Captain will be back before we sail, so I'll show you to your beds for the next few weeks." With that, they follow him aboard, making their way below decks to a long, dim room, with at least 6 beds on either side lining the walls. He leads them to the very end of the room and points at the beds. One on the left and one on the right. "It's up to you who sleeps where, but make yourselves comfortable. Captain says you're guests and you're to relax." It's funny that. He aims to treat you as guests, but he sticks you in the quarters with the rest of us, while he'll be sleeping in his nice warm poster bed with a fireplace to warm him. "Well, we have this torch over here. That'll be your light and warmth down here, but don't hog it. We share that." "You don't sound like you're the biggest fan of the captain." Oxen looks around at his fellow sailors, rushing around getting prepared to sail for the mainland. "I'll tell you some more about it tonight, okay? Let's just get you boys something to eat first, shall we?" While the rest of the crew rush around, Oxen sees to their food for the night. The twins find themselves standing at the stern of the boat, watching their prison island begin to move away from them, as the sound of the ship's bells begin to ring out, quickly followed by the sound of wind snapping in the sails of the ship, the waves crashing against the shore of the island and the sides of the ship. The crew were shouting orders around, and the screeching of seagulls up above grew fainter as the island behind them grew smaller. "Right, lads, Let's get this boat back home in one piece, nice and safe. I've got 2 lovely ladies waiting for me back there, not to mention the wife. A large, rounded man ascends the stairs to the wheel of the ship, and he catches sight of the twins. He grins an unhealthy smile, golden teeth outnumbering the white, and his one eye was completely white with a milky fog. He raised his hand and started to laugh. Well, I'll be. They'll be the first twins I've ever seen in my life, and I've been around, let me tell you. Come here, my lords. Take a look down at that deck. Those are my boys, and they're going to do anything you ask of them. You're guests here on my ship, so treat it like home. Oh, sorry, sirs. I meant, treat it as if it were your own, you know. Thank you, Captain. We truly appreciate your hospitality, honestly. So have you been somewhere before coming here? We noticed that there's a lot of cargo below the decks already, and we assumed that you were just here for us. Oh, lads, you flatter yourselves too much. We were just the first ship in Crystal to be setting sail for here. We stopped off on the way to salvage some wreckage. That cargo down there is fine loot. I've had it all counted and recounted again, so don't get trying any funny business. You may be the lords of the land, but I'm the king of this vessel. Oh, no, of course, we understand your concerns. 2 convicts, newly released and all. So you've got quite the haul then. I bet your crew are pleased with that. Ah, well, truth be told, lad, I take a 70% cut of the treasures, on account of me being a world-class captain and everything. The crew know, and they're just pleased to be working with the likes of me. Sounds more impressive when you're in a port tavern. They've never sailed on a smoother vessel as my lovely Lilac Storm. Are you sure? Because it's just that, Tanner, I'm sure the captain knows his crew better than we do. Now, I believe that Oxen is preparing some food for us, so, should we go and check on him, maybe? Oh, yes, I suppose so. Thank you again, Captain. We'll see you again shortly, I imagine. Absolutely, lads. Feel free to join me in my cabin after dinner for a drink. As the island of the prison shrinks to a dot into nothingness over the edge of the darkening horizon, the sounds seem to be calmer now, and even sounds of gentle music start to enter the atmosphere. In the ship's galley, Oxen and 2 of the cooks are talking over a large pot of boiling stew. Tanner enters alone, greeting each man with a nod and a smile. Mr. Tanner, sir, how are you? Fine, thank you. I'm just here to see how things are going, see if you need a hand or anything. Things are lovely here, thank you, sir. We'll have the stew ready before the hour is up, just as sunset. Ah, that's good, wonderful. Listen, so I spoke with the captain earlier, introduced ourselves and whatnot. He told me that he takes 70% cut of the treasure that you salvage, and that you're just pleased to be working with a man of his prestige. Is that true? No. That's absolute rubbish. He doesn't take 70% at all, no. He pays us 1 silver piece a day. Complete minimum wage, and not a single tiny copper piece of any plunder goes to us. It's all to him. The man has gold for teeth, and ladies of the night for company. We get stale bread and lice. Listen, sire, I've got to be terribly honest with you. You've arrived on this ship at a very unfortunately timed stage of our planning. We've been talking to our boys, and we're going to take this ship for ourselves. Kill that slimy scum once and for all. Oh, like a mutiny? Oh, yeah. A mutiny. He wants to take the whole cut of our loot, then he's welcome to a few more cuts. Greedy swine. Oxen spat to the ground as he uttered those last few words out. So, would you like some help? We're not the most experienced of fighters, but we've spent so many years reading about these situations, it might be quite handy strategically, Gods, man. You've only been out of prison for 8 hours and you're ready to commit another crime. Listen, you can help us, or you could steer clear of it, whichever one you're more comfortable with. Either way, I'll make sure you come across as innocent if we get caught. But if you do get in the way, my lords, I'm afraid there's no guarantee the lads will let you live to see the land ever again. It sounds harsh, I know, my lords, but they've been awaiting this moment for a long time, and your arrival hasn't altered their plans to see this through. This is happening, and it's happening tonight. Hours pass, and the twins spend their time mostly on the deck, staring onwards to the horizon, watching the seesaw battle of sky and sea ahead of them. As the sun dips down and darkness bleeds across the open skies, a bell is rung for supper. They make their way down below deck to the galley to claim their suppers each, and take their seats at a long table, surrounded by cargo. some crew even sitting on various crates of goods. The atmosphere in the room gave no hint of an impending mutiny. The crew ate and drank cheerfully, ready to get their rest. The captain, presumably in his quarters, enjoying the warmth of his fire. Oxen looks over at the boys and gives them a wink before he departs downstairs to the sleeping quarters. All the noise and chattering subside for the night down below, the sound of the ocean pressing against the hull around them remaining. Cal looks at Tanner before they settle down. So do we actually fall asleep, or should we wait up until it starts? I think we just sleep, don't we? I mean, I'm tired, so that's what I'm going to do anyway. Don't act suspicious. Good night, brother. Yeah, good night. The twins get in their separate beds and attempt to catch some rest. A few hours pass as the moon begins its descent through the cold night. The embers of the captain's fire crackle gently. The night crew whisper and keep the ship on course, moving around relatively quietly across the wet deck. The sails ripple and snap with the wind, and of course, the sound of the ocean against the ship is ever present. Suddenly, the peace is shattered. Screams pierce the silence. Sounds of knives being plunged into flesh, swords clashing, and insults and shouts fill the sharp air. In the background, above all the noise, was Oxen shouting mutiny and obscenities at the captain. Various crew members wake up from their sleep, some grabbing their weapons to defend, some grabbing their weapons to attack, and some grabbing their weapons out of pure confusion or shock. Cal jumps out of bed and grabs his brother, and they rush over to the clustered area of crates and chests. Find a weapon, now! Why did we wait till now to do this? No time for questions. Just get looking. They root through the various cargo while chaos boils over all around. They each find a mace, and Cal pulls out a crossbow. I got a mace. Me too. But look what else. Oh, did you find a crossbow as well? No. A glaive. Yeah, okay, so that'll be great and lovely. That'll really come in handy in this nice close-range situation we're in here. A glaive is a perfect weapon of choice. Perfect. Shut up and follow me. Tanner leads Cal out, using his glaive to point ahead, shoving men out of the way, while Cal follows close behind with a mace in hand. A crewman runs at them full sprint with a cutlass raised above him. Tanner rolls quickly to his right, dodging the swing. As he does, the attacker sees Cal in front of him, who is ready, swinging his mace upwards into the man's chin, practically flipping him over, landing on his back with a crunch. The man moans and groans as blood pours from his mouth, his hands fumbling beside him for his sword. Cal runs ahead as Tanner spins to drive his glaive down into the man's chest. Cal thunders up the stairs to the wheel of the ship, to see the captain fighting alongside two others against two mutineers. Cal calmly places his hand on his holy symbol of Ashenrae, hanging proudly around his neck. His eyes flash quickly with a golden light as he throws his hand forward, and a searing bolt of flame fires out and launches into a crewman, engulfing him entirely. The mutineers lunge at the captain, who parries and cuts them both, kicking one back down the stairs. Tanner narrowly avoids the body coming down the stairs, and he makes his way up. He launches his glaive, miraculously finding the chest of the second crewman. The captain quickly turns and jumps onto the railings on the stern of the ship. He turns back and points his engraved dark steel sword out at the twins. How dare you? I took you on board of my ship, and I offered you safe passage. And you couldn't have trusted criminals, you scum. I should have had you in the cell for the entire journey. Oh, no matter. I'm Hamilton Meltley, famous captain. I can take both with ease. Bring it on. As Cal begins to charge forward, he notices Tanner grab onto a holy symbol of his own, a pendant on the front of his belt. His eyes flash quickly, but with a deep orange, as he stares into the captain's eyes. Jump. The captain's eyes too flash a deep orange, his state turning seemingly lifeless, his sword dropping down into the sea behind him. Without a sound or even an expression, he turns to face the deep dark blue and leaps forth. A moment passes before a loud splash is eventually heard. The twins both rush, look over the edge, and see the captain shouting and splashing, the water filling his mouth, being spat back out, filling his mouth again. Another moment passes as the captain's hand is the only thing sticking out from the surface, before it eventually disappears defeatedly down. Behind them, the bell rings out as Oxen sprints up to the stairs and grabs the wheel, and turns to face his crew below. This ship is finally ours, and so is all that sweet loot and treasure. Upon hearing the word loot, Cal looks down at the dead crew members at his feet, and decides to rummage through their pockets, pulling out numerous copper pieces and the occasional silver piece. What in all hell are you doing, Cal? What? It's not like they need it. Well, you're not wrong, I suppose, actually, yeah. Tanner reaches down and goes through the pockets of bodies, recovering a handful of copper pieces. Oxen turns and clears his throat. My lords, thank you. You have no idea how badly this ship needed a change of management. As soon as we get to the port, you can expect a handsome gift from me for helping us out. The least I could do after interfering with your otherwise peaceful journey home. Now rest up, my lords. You look tired. We all do, and there's at least 5 more hours till sunrise. The twins made absolutely no contest of this, and returned to their beds and fell asleep almost straight away. Days pass, and eventually the boys are called up onto deck at the sight of land. That there, my lords, is Crystalry, the capital city of Uvel, the jewel of Idan, the smooth white cliffs and the golden roofs of the royal castle, the tiered walls going higher up into the hillside, with the shining tops of the temple sending the sun's rays across the city. God, she's beautiful, isn't she? Certainly a sight to behold. Do you think we ever came here as children, on the way to the island? No, you come from up north, my lord, so I doubt it. Probably got shipped off somewhere along the northern west coast. The ship at long last comes into port, and the twins disembark, staring up at the large, gleaming white cut stone walls looming 50 feet above them, the towers either side of them displaying the glistening flag of Uvel, flying high in the cool coastal breeze through the hot rays of the sun. Well, my lords, it's been a pleasure to know you, and I owe you one. So, if you ever find yourselves in Purefall, I'll sort you out with anything you need, okay? I wish you all the best, my lords. It's been an honour. You keep those weapons as well. Thank you, Oxen. That's very nice of you. So what are you going to do now then? Well, I think I need to be selling this ship off somewhere. Get myself a proper ship, owned and paid for by me, not that greedy old pig's sloppy seconds. I imagine I'll get a good deal over in the South Gorge, so we'll be headed there as soon as. A man with a plan. You'll be a good captain. You take care of yourself, and thank you again for letting us keep these weapons. The least I could do, sir. You take care now. As Oxen ascends the gangplank onto the ship, the twins turn around and take one more look up at the large white walls gleaming before they approach and make their way into the city of Crystalry.